Hi. Hi, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. How are the Monday blues coming along? I hope you all had a great weekend. Staying at home, staying safe, practicing social distancing. Weekends. Sounds weird, right? Ironic. The concept of weekends, weekdays is lost. But what the hell? A little enthusiasm never killed anyone. So I hope you all had a great weekend and a very happy Monday to you all. 2 weeks back, we launched Startup versus COVID-19 campaign to capture the impact of COVID-19 on startups and businesses. We are covering and will cover an array of topics from founder concerns to changing business landscapes to new market opportunities, challenges, new sectors, and how to survive. As part of the same, we launched AMA series. We relaunched our AMA series, Ask Me Anything series. On Saturday, I hosted Siddharth Pai, founding partner 314 Capital, an early stage VC firm. Siddharth spoke about Investment Outlook 2020, VC mindset, what are investors thinking, and how the year is going to be. Do check it out. Today, at the second episode, we are focusing on more fundamentals of business, how to cut down operational budgets, how to cut down costs, hiring and firing, layoff versus pay cuts, messaging to your clients, messaging to your teammates, to your partners and vendors, an array of topics around business fundamentals. So without further await, I would like to introduce Ashish Tulsian, founder POSist. POSist started in 2012, is one of the leading cloud-based restaurant tech platforms. POSist has customers in over more than 100 cities and counts more than 8,000 brands in its kitty. So Ashish, over to you. And to start on a lighter note,
Yeah.
you and Sakshi, right, who is also your wife and a very good friend. So you and Sakshi are also co-founders, not many people know of. And though in a usual business day, it was different. How the dynamics is at home when you both are locked down and managing work-life balance. So the memes we are seeing where founders are washing utensils or peeling off the potatoes. Are we going on those lines?
I think life is pretty much the same. We are trying to keep that, keep life same, because in office, the way we operate, I mean, me and Sakshi operate in like very different portfolio of, work we do. So, we are very complementary skill sets, and we, to put it less subtly, I think we try to stay out of each other's hair. So we don't really mingle at a place which is dangerous. Back home, I think washing utensils is actually helping a lot. It's helping me.
Is Sakshi sitting at your side right now? I can feel that.
Well,
You're under pressure.
I think, but home is good, yeah. I'm actually quite
sure.
surprised. I'm very happy with the COVID situation out there, but I'm very happy because in last 10 years, this is the longest and the most I've stayed at home. I'm sure that applies to most of our folks.
Sure,
And,
everyone. Yep.
And it's not that
So
bad.
Sure. So getting into more serious conversation, and we have spoken about it earlier while we were also on the call. So first thing which is coming to a founder's mind right now, looking at everything, talking to the investors and partners, is to cut down budgets. Now, no one has hired people or built the budgets with the thought process that they have to cut it down in next 1 week or 2 weeks. So how one should think it on a 30,000 feet level when they're approaching a budget cut exercise, because it's a nightmare. Where to start from and where you start focusing on cutting down the budgets.
I think all of us should understand one thing, before I dive into, and whatever I'm going to say is largely, what we are doing, largely what is, my
Sure.
expectation from my own, my own actions.
Sure.
So this is an event which is happening, for the world. This is not really happening for, one company or one sector or one domain. That's the silver lining, and that's how I see it. Like, that's a glass half full approach. If you really look at it like, from the exercise of cutting the budget, then you get into this thought process of what is important, what is not important. As you said, nobody hired or nobody, created, that entire expense thinking that I may have to cut it, in a week or two. So my first view is, and at least that is the view which we have taken for our businesses, that, we really need to take this slow. We don't need to rush into the exercise of cutting the budget. I think what we did and what we are doing right now is that we created a list of what is essential and what is non-essential. What it means is that tomorrow, if business bounces back, what are the things which we can do without, even if business bounces back to the same level, right? That's a first, that's a plan. That's what I call plan A, for us. Because when business is going great, when there is like when you're on a high stream, then everything, I mean, you start initiatives which may not be valuable right now. You start initiatives which may not be helping your product, which may not be helping your service, which may not be helping your customers today. You invest in future, and at times a little way ahead. It's not bad when things are great. When things are bad, those are the things probably you want to have a relook at. So I will not really say that you cut,
So,
but
okay, I will interrupt here. So, just for the sake of our viewers, to make it more crystal clear, how about we start with looking at businesses who have cash flows or money in the bank for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and more, right? Because all the priorities are going to change depending on the money in the bank. If I have a 3 months money in the bank, my first thought is to extend it to 6 months, and hence to the cut down exercise, right? So, how are you looking at the timeline based on the money in the bank?
I don't have an answer for the timeline. So that's what I'm saying. So the way I'm looking at the situation is that you need to create a plan A, plan B, and plan C. We really don't know. And the biggest problem in this situation is that we don't know if it's a 3-month problem, 6-month problem, or a 12-month problem, because
Yeah,
what you need to do for all the three is maybe drastically different. What you may do
yeah,
today may not actually hold true 6 months from now in case the situation continues.
yeah,
Or if the situation
yeah.
continues, I mean, I can, to make it more clear, I can give you our example, right? Okay, we work with restaurants.
Sure.
Now, our understanding is that restaurants right now are shut down. We are the first hit, after airlines and
Yeah,
hotels. We were the third industry to get
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Now, if this situation continues for 3 months, I know that the restaurants are going to bleed, and they'll come back weak, but they will come back.
yeah,
If the situation
yeah,
goes on for 6 to 9 months, I don't even know how many of the customers, will shut down permanently. They may not be in the business anymore. So
yeah, yeah.
me planning for 3 months versus planning for 9 months is drastically different, right? In 3 months, I'm assuming that there is going to be a V curve. A lot of VCs
Right.
have talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
this curve.
U curve, V
So
curve, and L curve. Yeah.
I'll not get into the curves and the jargons, but what I mean is that
Yeah, yeah,
I do believe that if lockdown opens tomorrow,
yeah,
restaurants will get crowded again, right? They may not get crowded, like physical people may not go, but ordering will go through the roof immediately. We have seen that in China. We are watching that in China,
yeah,
and from our vantage point, we are also looking at different geographies in the world. So we
yeah,
know that is going to happen, but we still don't know what is going to happen after 6 months or 9 months. So what I'm saying is that there has to be a 3-month plan A, 6-month plan B, and a 12-month plan C. They may not coincide. They may or may not be sequential. You cannot, be so great that you can create a plan 3 and activate plan B in next 3 months. What I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah,
is
yeah.
you really need to take, this slow. Now, you on your question, people who have cash flows or who have cash, I think cash flow is not there. Cash is the first thing.
Yeah,
I think creating runway, if that is a cash you believe you want to conserve, and you believe that you're in a business which is hit on the cash flows. For example, our business is completely hit on cash flows. If restaurant is not making money, I cannot make money. People cannot renew. People cannot give us money. So for us, whatever cash is there until the cash flow starts in the market, that is the only cash we have. For
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think this is to each his own. What I will say is that if the question is about limited cash, please maximize your runway. That may not mean always firing. That may not always mean budget cutting, and I can come back on that a little later.
Yeah,
But you
yeah,
actually smartly defer a lot of expenses and start building up the plan. See, it really depends on how are you looking at your industry. So I think everybody, that's what I'm telling everybody, please assess and please create a clear understanding of how do you think your industry will bounce back post 3 months, post 6 months, and post 12 months. If you think that your industry is going to go down, for example, if you're in marketing services, we're just taking an example, right?
yeah,
I'm very sure that your industry is not going to bounce back in 3 months. It is actually going to
yeah,
take double the time, in us, because once businesses get back on their feet, first they will start,
yeah,
running their operation, their
yeah,
basics, events,
yeah.
everything is taken care of. Cash flows start trickling in. Probably that's when they will latch onto the marketing services. So if you're a marketing services company, you probably, your plan A has to be 6 months.
Fair enough. So you are saying it again, like it's very subjective to each on its own, and and people have to anticipate when the markets are going to turn in their particular industry and anticipate
Based
a
on their
possible cash flow and match that. Great. So, and if we delve into more about, if one agrees to kind of, conserve cash and do the cut downs to a tune of 30 to 50%, right? And if we literally, take a quick look on the MIS of any particular company, the broad heads, what areas you think, are the lowest, which we never think, have expenses, but we can cut them down? And few examples if you have from your own experience.
Um, I think the way we are doing it is we made a list of expenses which are fixed expenses, which are going to happen even if we are not in the office, even if no sale happens, even if
Yeah,
no employee is there. What are those
yeah,
expenses, right?
yeah,
So for example, we
yeah.
started talking to landlords of all the offices, and we have
Sure.
seven offices in the group. And we started talking to them about, number one, uh, force majeure, can we completely let go of the rent. But in all this cutting exercise, please do understand that we are preparing for a world which is post-corona world. So world is definitely going to come back to its normal, and you are still going to be in business, hopefully. Um, Cutting budgets does not mean burning bridges, neither with your employees, nor with your customers, nor with your partners, your landlords, your vendors. So communication is actually the key here. As I said, everybody is in it, together. So that's a good thing. Everybody is going to understand what you're saying. They may or may not agree with you, but they will understand. They have no other option but to understand. So one is that we started cutting down on those. Our first port of call was that how much delay can we do for immediate cash flow expenses for next 3 months? And I'm saying delay. I'm not saying completely cut. While we
Okay.
start preparing for a cut in 6 months plan, but in 3 months plan we said, hey, if we delay this, how much how what all is possible. So we started talking to all our vendors, all our fixed expenses, all our subscription services, and started looking at relief packages from everywhere, trying to understand. And most of the time our communication is designed around, hey, this is the situation. We are conserving cash flow. Business was healthy as of 2 weeks or 3 weeks back. We expect it to be healthy post this once this ends. We want to continue with your services. For example, 91 Springboard, we run our
Yeah,
office in
yeah,
Mumbai.
sure.
We wrote a mail to them exactly saying this, that, hey, we don't want to cut down this. We want to continue to be the partner. We know that you're also in trouble. Let us know what is the relief package you are thinking of, and then let's discuss, right? So I'm
So,
sure.
so, 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 so and, interrupting you, and so basically, you are saying having that empathy in your messaging, because a lot of the founders I've spoken to, and no offense, I'm sure they were under stress, right? So their tone was more on the lines of, "Hey, I will not give you this because I don't have money," rather than that we understand you're also in challenge, we are also in challenge. Can we figure out a middle ground here?
100%. See, what I'm going to tell you about what we are doing with vendors is also what we are doing as vendors to our customers, right? So, I mean, I can go in a little detail after this, but then my point is that empathy is something which is a must right now for all the entrepreneurs to the other entrepreneurs, right? Your vendor, your service provider, your partners.
Yeah,
Please make sure that you are you're keeping yourself in their shoes as well, while situation might be very, very bad at your side. There will be certain people who will agree with you. There will be certain people who may act assholeish. That's okay. That's absolutely fine. They are also in stress. You can also be a little assholeish about it. When you are under stress and you are thinking कि मैं किसी को पैसा नहीं दूंगा, world can go screw themselves,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that attitude is not going to go long way in case you want to still continue business after this ends. In case this is the end of it, then
Yeah.
all the best. So
Yeah.
one is that messaging. We are giving this messaging to all our vendors, and I think so far we have received mixed but interesting response. We haven't received a response where we say, oh, it was appalling and somebody was saying that I don't own this up. Second is that same goes for the employees, right? So for employees, we are also looking at who are the ones who we can have a deferred cost to. What it means is that I may have a hire who is really costly, who is supposed to create long-term value. We hired the person for that long-term value. Now I'm again calculating that in case this goes on for next 3 to 6 months, will this guy still be able to add value, or will this be a loss for the guy as well as for us, given that he is also spending his six months with us, and we are also spending our 6 months of cash with him. And in case the answer is yes, even bleakly, we are having this conversation with them. So we are telling them that,
Yeah.
hey, this is exactly what the position is. If we defer your money, that means we are not giving you a pay cut. but we may defer this money. We will pay this in future, and you can define, the ways of future basis. How are you planning your cash flow and how your organization operates. I mean, people will be okay, because again, in case they also believe that they can add value to what you're doing, if they also believe that the industry you are operating in, they are going to have a career post this. Uh, and they also know, even if they go anywhere else, how is it, how are they sure that that industry is not going to suffer? So in case you are empathetic in your conversation, you are clean in your conversation, you are more transparent, and you're more understanding. And I'm not saying paying from the money you don't have. I'm just saying being a little empathetic is going to go a long way. You will actually receive help from the quarters which you never thought existed.
And Ashish, before I will want to touch you upon the conversation we were having the other day, and that was a bit personal. But if we can draw anecdotes from them, a lot of
Yeah.
founders have one or two or three people who are kind of left right hand of the company, and they are
Right.
very close to the management team because they have amazing capabilities and XYZ, and they can be with you from 4 or 5 years. And sometimes founder do this mistake thinking of them as a pseudo co-founder, right, who will understand their pain and their challenges. And when founders are under stress, they kind of look towards them, and they believe them to understand. But we are talking about that the other day, and we also have to make kind of understand that these are also employees of some level, and they're looking towards you, looking forward to you to have that security. So you have to
Correct.
maintain that balance. And before we get into that question, guys who are tuned in, please keep posting your questions. In another 5 to 10 minutes, we'll start picking them up. So yeah, Ashish, if you want to get into that particular conversation.
Uh, you know, let's face this, okay? If you're an entrepreneur and you're listening to this, let's face this. You are the captain of the ship. You were getting all the glory when things were great. You're going to, take all the burn and the load of the situation. There is no escape from that. Number one. Number two, there are employees around us who are almost our co-founders. Almost, they've lived the journey neck to neck, shoulder to shoulder with us. But you have to also understand that they do find their security in you. They're not bad people. They're not cowards. They're not wrong. They joined you. They work with you because they believe in you. They believe in your vision, right? And they are little better than others because they have more ownership of the situation. But that ownership is also under your umbrella. Actually, this is the best time to embrace that fact. Again, it's very, very hard, right? Because you may get people who will come back to you and say, "मैं pay cut नहीं ले सकता," या I'm not going to do this because I have EMIs, I have expenses. I will repeat that again. You may or may not be able to finally pay it. Okay, I mean, I'm sure there are ways to figure this out, but you not being able to understand this right now is the worst you can do to them as well as to yourself. So understanding is very, very important. My view is that when you are giving anybody a deferred salary or a pay cut, try if you can also take them in confidence. Try and also understand if they have certain expense in life which is overpowering every other thought right now. There is a possibility. Some of your closest employees, some of your closest partners, you will actually realize that you never knew them. You never knew exactly what was going on in their life. And
Yeah, yeah,
just because they were coming to work happy every day, they were following the command and the vision. You might have got that blind spot. So my request will be that this is a time for conversations. This is a time for also not being the hero and the macho, but at the same time not being completely off your responsibility. I think there is this the balancing act which needs to be done. Whereas a founder, you need to take the responsibility of what are you going to do in the situation. How are you going to make sure that people and their basics are taken care of? If you're not able to do more than the basic, tell them upfront. They will figure it out. For example, if I'm not going to, if I won't be able to pay an employee of mine who also has an EMI, which I never knew of, let's say. So I need to actually ask them, कि यार आपकी जिंदगी में कुछ ऐसे expenses हैं who are going to hit very, very badly. Now, if somebody
yeah,
tells
yeah,
me I have an EMI which is actually equivalent to or more than what you're offering right now in this period, I have two options. One, either I will figure out, or he or she will figure out. And both the options are
yeah.
good options if you communicate. Don't assume. Don't just let them be. don't leave your responsibility saying हम इतना ही कर सकते हैं, इसके आगे हम नहीं कर सकते हैं. सुनना और बात करना important है. आप नहीं भी कर पाओगे तो नहीं कर पाओगे. आपके पास कैश नहीं है तो ऑफ कोर्स आप नहीं कर पाओगे. बट यू नो व्हाट, अगर आपके घर में कोई बीमार होता है, या अगर आपके घर में कोई बहुत बड़ी इमरजेंसी होती है, तो आप पैसा अरेंज करते हैं, या आप रिसोर्सेज अरेंज करते हैं, या आप कोई नया तरीका निकालते हैं. दिस इज द टाइम टू रियली गेट योर हेड टुगेदर, इवन फॉर देम, नॉट ओनली फॉर द बिजनेस, and make sure that figure way out. Weber, just to end this, my and I may be too optimistic here, but I think my experience with people has been quite phenomenal all my life. You'll be surprised how people will start figuring out the ways to take care of their situation, right? People are people at the end of the day. They are insecure. They also feel the same threats as us. We just have a little bit more ownership, and that's all. And they are dependent on you for that ownership. The time you place that ownership in their hands, things are, you will have more power to attend to this situation, and not really less.
So before we get into questions, I also want to touch upon the
questions.
Sorry, it's echoing. Wait. Hold on, give me a second, guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So you have offices in 3 to 4 countries, and also in 3 to 4 cities in India. How the geography plays the whole role in this, in this thought process. Some learnings which you have communicated to your employees across countries, across to your vendors, to your clients, or how you manage this multi-geography approach, in this lockdown which has happened globally.
See, I think when this all started, our fondest hope was that all the world is not going to get locked down all at once. And given that our business is quite diversified, we have Middle East, we have Europe, we have US, Southeast Asia, Latin America, and out of that, Middle East is actually the highest performing, and then there is US and LATAM, and then there is Southeast Asia and some part of Europe. Interestingly, plan did not go that well. All the world indeed is locked down all at once right now. So we know what's happening with Europe. We know what's happening with US. We know LATAM is actually going through exactly the same curve as India. That means they are in a preemptive, lockdown sort of situation.
1 month ago,
First to react on preventive lockdown. So they are still under lockdown, and they're locked down actually for almost 3 weeks now. So for us, kind of the entire world came at a standstill. Funny enough, China started coming back last week. So
that's what I'm hearing in the news also.
No, that's true. So we started getting callbacks from China. I will not really say the deals are on, but we started getting callbacks from our Chinese partners, our people on the ground, and things are getting better, if not fully well. I think there is nothing different we did. What we did is that on 14th of March we announced work from home, because we wanted, we cared for all our team, and we realized that probably learning work from home will be, good point before, the forced lockdown happens. So we basically told all our teams across the globe to, shut, going to office, go back home, and start collaborating, remotely. We're actually using this time, especially for outside India, teams, to strengthen and to relook at partnerships, to strengthen our processes, to create better sales material, to create better marketing material, to start, discuss. We've already started discussing exactly what are the things which we lagged. While on the treadmill, you don't get a chance to really look at it because everything is working. You're continuously.
Yeah.
So we, for last 2 weeks, we have been using this time consistently, to take a step back, to look at exactly what the business was, what were we doing, what are the great partners we haven't, talked to or really, done well with, in those geographies. Now we have a list of target partners, target integrations from every geography which we were operating in. So we are basically trying to use this time to get into more proactive mode rather than reactive mode.
So you're saying building the muscle, when the market reopen for?
Oh, 100%. So see, my optimism is that market will bounce back any which way. For some, it is going to be a little late bounce back. For some, it is going to be immediate bounce back. We don't know which one, but we do know that while the business is going on, all the entrepreneurs, all the teams, every employee, everyone on the job feels कि यार time होता ना तो ये वाली चीज ढंग से कर लेते. time hota to ye wali
Yeah,
PPT
yeah.
dhyan se bana lete. So we are basically very optimistically using that time, and entire team is collaborating. So we are basically making sure that everybody is honing more skills. So for example, in our team, everybody has started cross team training. So people are basically getting trained on things which either were not directly under their purview, but can enrich them. Two, people are also starting to hone more skills on the things which were directly related to their job, but they were doing a lousy job at that, or maybe they did not get time enough to sharpen their axe.
Sure. So getting into few of the questions. So, and there are few questions I don't think anyone else can answer. Thiagarajan has asked balance between survival of your company versus employee salary during this tough time. If you don't have enough money in the bank, then what? So, well, again, I don't think there's one answer for this. If you want to attempt,
No, but
Ashish.
I think survival is important. If your company will not survive, there is not going to be an employee anyway. My only point is that don't don't communicate or don't think of it as if your back is against the wall. Understand that it is happening with everyone. Your employees will also understand. Some of them may not understand immediately, but they will understand. Trust me, market is bad for everyone. So survival is actually your first job. No matter what, as an entrepreneur, survival is the first job. So do whatever it takes to survive, even if that means that you need to cut salaries, or even some of your teammates, unfortunately for now. But sit with them, create that plan, see if they can come back, see if as I said, you'll be surprised. Some of them might be able to take care of themselves for a certain period, may. So don't be afraid of this conversation, is what I'm saying. Even if you don't believe that they will understand, please go and have this conversation. It is not going to hurt.
So these are two very interesting questions because one is government has issued an advisory to both private and public companies to not lay off employees or cut their salaries. Shouldn't startup make employment the first order priority to maintain economic stability? Again, I think already spoken about it, but if you want to just answer in this particular tone
I'll
to
take a
help,
quick Jayadeep, right? So I
yeah,
think uh, I appreciate that advisory, but you have to understand that government has just given this as an advisory. This is not a directive. This is not a law or a rule, right? So don't follow this
yeah,
blindly. Number two, maintaining economic stability is not about paying somebody's salary for 2 months. If your company is going to shut down after 2 months, you are actually going to do more damage to economy than you could have. I mean, so surviving
yeah.
is definitely important. Three, even if you are going to pay your employee 2 months of salary, it's really not going to help them also, because if you lay them off after 2 months because you ran out of money, that is also going to be a little stupid. So my point is that conserve that cash, even if that means laying off or cutting down people, but have a conversation with them, make them a part of your plan rather than throwing them off the plan.
And Ashish, I think you can answer this question very interestingly because this gentleman has asked Kaustuv, the behavioral changes gonna come once we return to our normal life. And why? Because you have a lot of people, a lot of customers in the restaurant space, right? So one of the hot sectors where people go and spend money. What do you think?
Yeah, this is 101% going to have irreversible behavior changes, guaranteedly. I mean, without any doubt. I can tell you that our focus as a company, and I'm saying this out aloud in open, our focus is going to be heavily on delivery kitchens and cloud kitchens versus dine-in restaurants. And if this is a strategy change, so be it. We can clearly see that delivery restaurants are still running in some or the other fashion. They're not still making money, but it is going to happen. Dine-in people are not going to jump back very, very soon. Even if I feel that in my industry there's going to be a week of people their industry is going to come down and jump back tomorrow morning as soon as the lockdown gets over. I still believe it's not going to be the same curve for dine-in restaurant bars. People are still going to be afraid of going out, at least at first. Life will take time to come to normal. But delivery businesses are going to thrive immediately. Brands are going to I'll tell you, Oberoi's the five-star hotel, they started their home delivery last week.
Wow,
uh, if you're a
wow.
5,000 rupees minimum order, at least in Delhi NCR, you can call Oberoi's and they'll deliver to your home. So when that happens, I think writing is very clear on the wall. I will say that in all your businesses, look at that behavior change. Look at what's going remote. Look at how can you empower people in this new behavior, and their behavior is not really going to be very different from you. I'm not saying that people are going to stop coming out. World will come out, but I can tell you that if this goes on for next 3 to 4 months, I promise that as POSist, we will be operating not more than 3 days a week from office as a plan. We are going to be 2 days compulsorily remote, from all the offices all across, because the way I look at this right now, I think remote work is 101% possible, and we are really excited about what all it can bring in, right? So yeah, so I think look for all the behavioral changes. Most of them are going to be irreversible.
Wow. And so you are saying even for you as a company, it might be a fundamental change to not work from office for 5 days or 7 days a week going forward.
100%. I'm super sure. I'm sure about it. Even if this lockdown opens in next 4 weeks, I'm super sure about it.
Okay, and coming to the next one. So Rishabh has asked, for SaaS companies like yours, how badly are sales affected? Are sales even happening? If yes, what are your key strategic efforts to keep sales, leads, and engagements going? Some number
Rishabh,
will help.
Rishabh, sales are not happening, and I'll not mince my words here. Um, my dashboard is right now extremely scary. Restaurant sales across India are down to 3%, right? So we were tracking 42 crore per day worth of sales on restaurants, and I'm giving out these numbers above. Thank me later. But out of 42 crore worth of sales per day, right now it is 1 crore per day, and so you can do your math. And if sales of the restaurants are down by 97%, trust me, we
Yeah,
mimic this
yeah,
number when it comes to our sales. So no new sale is happening for sure, because restaurants are also, not only in a shutdown mode, they're also, see, everybody's scared, right? So people, ऐसा नहीं है
yeah.
कि people don't have money,
They
दो
don't
हफ्ते में
know.
नहीं खत्म हो गया है. In fact, सबके पास पैसा है. People are conserving a lot of cash right now, but they're scared. They don't know how long the situation is going to be. They don't know how much money they may have to pump in once they get back on their feet. So they are going to conserve cash. To answer your question a little better, sales are happening. So people are taking demos. People are evaluating the product. People are still signing the contract. People are still negotiating. People at times, are asking for COVID discount already. Um,
COVID discount. Interesting.
I mean, that's a world order, man. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
of this is happening, but yes, money is not exchanging hands. People are not paying up. In fact, we have cases where people have taken a picture of the check after signing the contract, sent it to our salespeople saying, "मैं हूँ, check भी है, दूंगा नहीं." So and I
मैं
think
हूँ
I think
check
we
भी और
respect,
दूंगा.
in the sense that they said, "Yeah, once this shutdown
Yeah,
goes over,
yeah, yeah, I
then
get it.
take the
Yeah,
check."
yeah, yeah.
But my
So
check
actually,
here is my commitment.
coupling this with the another question on the same lines, which is an interesting question actually, because this Shreya is asking, "Hey Ashish, what is the best way to keep your prospects and customers engaged in this situation?" And actually, I've also,
Excellent question.
got a lot of these queries. How you keep your customers engaged when you have nothing to sell?
Correct. I think make a list of things which your customers don't know, not about your product, about their industry, about their work. For example, let's talk about Ink 42. Okay, so
Yeah,
Ink
yeah,
42, Ink 42's customers generally are people who may want to do branding,
yeah, yeah.
who are basically coming out of their digital spend, and who may
Sure,
want to do branding in different ways, right? They may want to do branding
sure,
in like, it can be a boom branding, it can be a hiring, it can be a positioning,
sure,
it can be narrative
sure,
based,
sure,
advertising.
sure,
This is a time where Ink 42 needs to create a webinar, a series, and a closed door session, and effort to engage all the prospects on teaching them ropes of this trade, on teaching them how media works, on teaching them how to optimize your spend on media, on teaching them how to get good content written, on giving them case studies on the best companies in the world who and editorial advertorial content. This is free
sure,
gyan. Trust me, your customers are going to value you much more. See, this is the time. See, this is
sure.
the time of economic deficit, but this is also the time of trust deficit in the market and in the world overall. If you do things to build that trust, you're going to pay back when all of this is over. Who is the first one company they will go
Hmm.
back to? In recession, people don't stop spending. People reconfigure their expenses. When things are going great,
Yeah.
people spend everything. I'll take a very, very normal example I was giving to somebody else. When things are going, जब सब बहुत अच्छा चल रहा होता है, तो आप टीवी खरीदने जाते हो, आप सोनी का टीवी खरीदना चाहते हो, एंड सेल्समैन बोलता है कि 40,000 का टीवी मत खरीदो, 19,000 का ये चाइनीज टीवी आ रहा है, ये ले लो. आप सोचते हो कि यार व्हाट वर्स कैन हैपन, नहीं चलेगा, नहीं चलेगा, वापस आके सोनी का ले लेंगे, बिकॉज थिंग्स आर गोइंग वेल फॉर यू राइट नाउ. यू नो दैट यू हैव कैश एंड देयर इज गोइंग टू बी कैश इन फ्यूचर एज वेल. 1000 का टीवी ले लेते हो.
Yeah.
बट इस समय अगर आप जाओगे मार्केट में टीवी लेने, तो आप सेल्समैन को बोलोगे कि यार 40 का नहीं, 45 का, 45 का दे दे, पर प्लीज मेक श्योर कि जो तू टीवी दे ना, वो खराब ना हो, क्योंकि मैं रिपेयर नहीं करा सकता, मैं दोबारा नहीं ले सकता. This is my hard-earned money. I want to conserve it. So people reconfigure their expenses for better products. See, people are buying Slack. People are buying Zoom, right? In this downturn, people are buying Notion. People are buying a lot of remote, video and remote collaboration products. Why are they doing that? We have shut down our offices. We are still paying rent for these months, but we have invested in a lot of remote, working tools, and that is actually going to be pretty hefty amount, given that we are 150 people. My point is that please remember, this is the time where you engage all your customers a little smartly, not about your product, but about knowledge which they lack in their industry, in their job, which may circle back to your product.
Sure. So engaging customers and building trust. Yeah. So coming to Shanti Rajan, hi Ashish, is there a possibility that POSist will start developing SaaS tools beyond the use case of restaurant POS?
Shanti, I wish right now some remote collaboration tools. Plus, मैं जितनी देर तक बर्तन धो रहा हूँ, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि if this lockdown continues for next 3-4 months, I may also end up creating a line of dishwashing products. But fact is that if I do that, I will still sell back to the restaurants. See, I think this time will not take away my forte. I'm a vertical SaaS guy. I know restaurants. I breathe restaurants. I know this industry extremely well. In fact, Shanti, to your question, I'm right now finding ways to go deeper into the restaurant space, to go deeper into the areas which I was not really diving in, thinking कि यार ये distraction है, we may not do this product, we may not do that service. I'm still on the on the lines of exploring, but we would want to stick to the restaurant space. We would want to stick to our area, and we are going to go very, very deep in that. In fact, we're not gonna back off.
So I want to pick up this question by Amit, because this is going again more deeper into your industry. Hey, hello Ashish. Restaurant billing, invoicing, and operation management startups have been hit hard during lockdown. What pivot models can these startups look out for in these times?
Amit, too early to pivot. Yeah. Too early to pivot. I think world has not ended yet. Restaurants have not shut down yet. I will again say, keep a little, have some patience. Pivot may not be the right thing, but as I said, this is the time for all of us, including us, to introspect where are we creating value for the restaurant. I'll give you an example. We are primarily a point of sale system, which is like a billing product. But we actually do billing is only 10% of what we do. We do 90% of the back end, which is back office, kitchen controls, inventory control, aggregator integrations, their accounting management, their cloud kitchen control. So we do their call center management. So we have a suite of 14 products. We are known for point of sale, but actually the industry knows us for the entire back end. This is the time where this is when the market opens up, it is going to be a day of reckoning for us. That's how this is the address which I give to our team as well. जिन customers के लिए हम value नहीं create करते थे और जिनके लिए भी हम utility product थे, we are going to lose those customers. जिनके साथ भी हमने service अच्छी नहीं दी थी, we are going to lose those customers. जिनके whoever we did not serve well with the product or with the service or with the use case, we are going to lose them. That means your reality or whatever you built in last 5, 6, 7, 3, 4 years is gonna stare you right in the eyes. But other side is also true. In case your product was valuable, in case you did a great service, in case you have been doing a great job at delivering value what you promised, trust me, you're going to come back much faster. So pivoting is like too early. अगर आपका product or service खराब था, या अब at par नहीं था, and you know that deep inside your heart, you know that your customers were always complaining, you know that you were not able to deliver it, as per the promise. A great time to pivot. Post-corona world is going to be a little ruthless when it comes to reconfiguring, how they consume services. What to pivot to? I'm not too sure if I can give a generic answer to that, but look for value here. People in post-corona world are going to look for much more value. They're not going to get onto good to have products anytime soon. Must have products are the only products and services which are going to immediately work.
And I think that's true for any sector, right? Need to have versus good to have. So need to have
No, no.
products are going to grow.
The last line is for everyone, right? Every sector is only going to have must have products. Good to have are also going to take a little bit of time. But I think the bar of excellence will get raised really high. Because
Right.
when people like Zoom will start giving out free accounts, who will go to a bad,
Yeah,
video
yeah,
conference?
yeah,
So,
yeah. Sandeep is asking which is the best performing international geography for a business during this time? Yeah, and it might give us a good insight on how the globe is, operating.
in the restaurant context, honestly, everything is shut down right now. I just said this, if you heard this
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
Middle East, I think any country which went into a preventive lockdown is going to be a good geography. Like in next 3 to 6 months horizon. For example, my bets are very high on GCC right now. So specifically Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, UAE, to Bahrain. Bahrain is very small, but otherwise, like as a cluster.
yeah.
So one is that we are expecting a lot from GCC right now. Given that they went in such a preventive lockdown that probably it's not going to hit them, the same way. I think every other geography is bad right now, man.
Yeah.
Europe is quite screwed. I think everything else is in the media. Latin America and Mexico, Latin America and Africa are also, good. We don't have business overall in Africa. We have business in South Africa, but a very small chunk of business. So we are not really able to understand how much. I mean, we don't have like, tailwinds happening there. Mexico and Latin America is doing well right now, but I don't know till what day, because they are lockdown for last 3-4 days. It's gonna shut down in the next 1 week. But yeah, so far GCC, LATAM are the two.
So Indrajit is asking how long do you think it will take the F&B sector to resize and stabilize? Something like that. Yeah.
Resizing will happen
People want to know a
around
timeline, Ashish. People are expecting a timeline.
Vaibhav. I can clearly see that there is a
I
change
understand.
happening in the F&B space where everybody is
Yeah,
delivery kitchens. I think that is gonna come back
yeah,
soon. That is in next 3 months you can expect them to at least get onto the minimum basic perfection, or they they will go back to their minimum delivery order sort of volume. Stabilize, I have no
yeah.
idea here, because it really depends on how long the corona. I think my has corona plus 3 months, like end of corona.
Corona plus
As I
3 months.
said, this is
Yeah.
going to be. I
Ayush,
mean, I hope so. I think F&B sector is gonna bounce back faster. That's what I believe, because that is a trend which I can see everywhere else. Unless this remote work also teaches people to cook excellent, so that's actually going to be a different nightmare altogether.
oh, interesting. I never thought of that like that. Interesting. But I don't think people are lazy. People are still lazy. Believe me. Ayush is asking how is hiring going to be affected by all companies? Are they on a freeze? If yes, then how long should we expect that?
Ayush, hiring is definitely going to be affected here. I think I can only make a guess on that, because I can tell you that at least I have had a chat within last 1 week in my circle. Hiring is definitely on a freeze for sure. But I still believe that there is configuration on hiring, because I don't think it's on a freeze. People are still interviewing. People are still looking for good candidates. This back to 2 recession cycles I have seen before. And 13-14 was like a small recession in India. But in both cases, I saw one thing. including us, everybody reconfigured. That means you start cutting down on people who were inefficient, but you start hiring people who can actually bring more efficiency to the process, who you can have more bang for the buck for, even if that buck is higher than who you let go. So I think people are going to reconfigure this. Remote employees are actually going to be the new cool. So in case there is any company who is talking about remote work, who's talking about giving out remote audience, who's the entire gig economy. There is a company. I was talking. There's a company called Tap Chief. Disclaimer: I am an angel investor there, but I was talking
Sure,
to them
sure.
that hey, surgeon, and it indeed is true. Resto who are giving there is a company called
Sure.
I
Yeah,
clearly
yeah,
see there is a company called content
yeah,
content managed content marketplace. All of these
yeah,
people are continuously
yeah.
looking at surge in traffic and surge in inquiries and surge in discussions. I don't have numbers on how much the conversion is, but people are going to reconfigure hiring. People are going to reconfigure how remote employees work. Hiring overall is going to be very, very slow for sure. If that answers your question.
Yeah.
I will also ask
I want to
remote resources. I think you can latch on to people who are not only in every nook and corner of India but everywhere in the world, and it can be interesting. It's easier said than done. We are not an expert on saying that, but I'm hopeful in that direction.
And I want to touch upon this question by Varun. We have a runway of around 12 to 15 months. Do you think it is sufficient to survive before the customers can start paying us again? Note, we are in B2B SaaS domain selling mobile POS solution. I know very specific, but if you have any insight, because other folks can also learn from that.
No, I think Varun, 12 to 15 months runway sounds very, very cool to me. Congratulations, by the way. I don't think a lot of people can say that right now, including us. I think I can also cry right now. But 12 to 15 months runway is a pretty good period for you to survive before everything else comes back. Whether people my only caution is that please don't take that runway as a burn runway. I will strongly advise and advocate using this time to filter out your customer, filter out your segments. For example, experiment with segments which you were जब आप बहुत solid growth mode में थे, या फिर जब आपने you might have raised capital. At that time you might not have luxury to say, okay, I'm not going to serve to this segment, or I'm going to serve to this segment only. Use this time. This is your time to spend that burn a little judiciously. Just to be clear, I'm not saying that you stop spending. Even if you're burning money and you have a 12 to 15 months runway, excellent position to be in. Make sure that you are not burning on treadmill. You basically change the course. You actually start looking at segments and start. It's like saying, if I have $100 and I need to spend those $100 on people who are going to create long-term value for me, who are those people going to be if I'm choosing to spend on you? So even if you want to give free to that segment who you believe is going to be your long-term segment. If you want to target a customer today which probably was not targetable for you before, go break open the door. Today some of the largest enterprises will be okay with looking at your solution at this point in time, given that it is coming at a little subsidized cost. Talk to the CFOs, talk to the brand owners, or the small proprietors, whoever you are talking to. But look at with the eye of long term benefit. Your worst nightmare is that in 12 months people are ready to pay but their businesses are shut down. So you don't want to do that. It's especially true if you're dealing with SMBs. When you said mobile,
Yeah. Ashish, I want to, touch upon a question not from here, but our good friend Avlesh tweeted out yesterday, right? And it's a different side of the coin. Avlesh is saying if you are employed at a startup, now is the time to be 10x more useful. It's for employees. Now is the opportunity to go beyond the obvious. Now is the time to double the hustle. So what I'm trying to ask, and you know, On the employee side, founders are doing what they are doing. Even for all the folks who are tuned in and working in startups and businesses, why should they even put in more effort right now, and how it is going to help them when things get better? Hello, can you hear me, Ashish? I think, folks, we are facing a bit of problem with the internet on Ashish's side. Hello. I think, folks, Ashish is frozen. Okay. So meanwhile, Ashish, we try to bring back Ashish. I think we have answered most of your questions, and we are trying to pick up more questions. If you guys feel that we should talk to any particular entrepreneur or an investor, please feel free to drop in the comments, and we'll try to bring them online in our future webinars. Also, any particular questions or a thought process you want to understand, feel free to drop in your questions on the form on the website, on the in the comment section, and we'll try to get that answered. We are trying to bring more panels and more experts, and scaling these webinars to a daily routine. And I hope we can all kind of get you there. Ashish is back, I guess. Yes, I think he's coming. Hello, hi
Yeah.
Ashish.
Hi, sorry,
So
you
we
were saying
faced a
you're
lack
talking
of
about,
internet.
yeah, Avlesh's
Yeah, I was
question.
talking about Avlesh, right? So basically, Avlesh tweeted out yesterday on the employee side that employees should put in 10x more right now. And while we were talking about founders, businesses, I want to touch upon the chord on the employee side. Why should they put in more effort right now? Why it is important more than ever?
Oh, it's very, very important. Yeah, this is not between you versus company. This is not between your company and you versus your customer. This is between all of you versus this situation, this virus. Um, this is the motivational side of it. The fact is, people are going to replace every inefficient service, product, and employee. So your customers are going to replace your service and product for the same reason why your company is going to replace you. It sounds a little harsh, but I don't think I don't think anybody is immune to this reality. So when company is going great, a lot of inefficient employees work out. It just works out because some of the great guys and some of the tailwinds from the market, they absorb your inefficiency. The company still remains afloat. Even if you survive, it works fine. Even if you do your basic job done right, you survive. Not anymore. This is not the time when people are going to look for that. I just said, why will people look for remote employees, right? Because people may want better talent at lower the cost. People will start looking out for and hunting out for that everywhere in India. So for employees, I will definitely say that don't think right now, oh, your company was cutting down your cost and because they were getting somebody cheaper. That's a very shallow way of looking at it. Please look at it right now from the perspective that you were not efficient enough or you were not able to deliver enough value. Hence, probably your company had to cut you off. And I'm not placing your company at a higher moral ground than you. I'm just saying that this is a time when if you put 10x, and even if you put 2x, rather if you put 1.5x, trust me, not only you will end up doing great to your company and to your colleagues at this point in time, but you are actually going to help yourself the most, because you will also discover your value. You will also discover why are you good at it, because even if, let's say, you get laid off, worst case, you still will look for a
Have
job
to go
somewhere,
somewhere.
right?
Yeah,
how
yeah,
will
yeah.
you how will you how will you prove it to somebody in next 3 to 6 months to an year that you are valuable indeed, that the package which you are commanding, the incentives which you were getting before, you are still worthy of that. So I don't know what context Ablesh said that, but I think it's not very
Yeah.
hard to guess. What I will also say is that if today your company is not letting you go, is not firing, is not just cutting costs and let you go in that, make sure that you do whatever it takes to help build it together. I think this is not only a motivational opportunity, this is also an opportunity where probably you will start knowing yourself better. This goes out for every employee company, whether you work for a TCS or whether you work for a startup. Uh, doesn't matter. The rules don't change.
On the same lines, Rakesh has asked, will there be a way out to counter hard decisions by employer?
Rakesh, I don't think you can. Sorry, I don't think you should, because that is going to be a potential waste of your time and your employer's time. And you can think of me as somebody who's a little biased as an employer. But what I can definitely tell you is that this is not the time to really fight. It won't help. It won't help your cause. It won't help their cause. And communication is actually the key. You may have employers, or you may find employers, or you may have employees who will come back very strongly at you in case they don't agree with your decision. Nobody can do anything about it right now. Trust me. Neither employee
Yeah,
nor employer, actually.
employer.
So
Yeah,
both ways, it is quite ineffective. The best is not to burn your bridges. The best is to understand each other's decision. If you're an employee, it's the best to go back to your CEO, go back to your manager, and empathize with them. In fact, ask them, what is it that you can do even if you got laid off? Trust me,
yeah,
this may sound bad and very, very insensitive right now, but this is actually the best you can do. I will do the same in case any of my customer fires me. I will exactly do the same. If any of my customer lets me go, I will actually go back and ask them, is there anything which I can do right now to sail through the situation with you, even though you have stopped our contract? I'll be okay with that, because anyway the loss is going to happen. यार उसके पास पैसे नहीं है, वो नहीं देगा. अगर आप इस समय हेल्प करोगे, शायद रिलेशनशिप बच जाए, शायद कॉन्ट्रैक्ट बच जाए, शायद दोबारा फ्यूचर में साथ काम करने का या साथ बिजनेस करने का या जॉब करने का ऑप्शन रहे. There are too many shayads for future. I will definitely say that this is war time, and war time pe internal battles are not really what you want to take up, for you as well as for them.
yeah, yeah. Quick last couple of questions, then we'll summarize. So Bhuvan is asking, should senior executives take a maximum cut in the salaries? Your thoughts?
100%, yeah. Bhuvan, senior executives are the ones who earn a lot on thinking and less on doing by hands. That is exactly how the hierarchy works, right? For example, I, as a founder, get paid for thinking. I don't necessarily get paid for working, right? I'm not hands. I may be the brain. So if somebody has to take a pay cut, who will it be? So if you were constructing a building and you had a contractor and you had 5 laborers, and laborers were working for 1,000 rupees a day, while the contractor was taking the overall profit in the building, whose money will you let go of first? Right? Laborer is anyway. So and by laborer, what I mean is anybody who is doing physical work. So right, when you start at the bottom of in your company, people who are actually doing maximum amount of physical work or intensive work,
Execution work, yeah.
Pay cut. And people who are senior executives who were anyway getting the benefit of so many people working for the organization and for their team, ideally they should. Ideally, yes. I don't think there are.
So one last question, which is on the funding side. Vikram is asking, so we are going to get some funding end of this month, but angels backed off. What do you recommend we should do? We had bootstrapped and almost kept it going for 2 years, and we were in the final round of this funding, but looks like it is not going to happen.
Vikram, immediately write a note to all of them saying, number one, that how bad the situation is. Number two, also telling them that, hey, while the round is on and while some of you are still saying that the round will happen, what I believe is that probably there is merit in deferring the round. Give them the comfort that you are okay with they backing off. In fact, don't make them look bad right now. It is the worst strategy to make them look bad. Think about it. Markets have crashed. Angel investor कहाँ से invest करता है यार? Extra पैसा पड़ा होता है, right? या फिर they believe in a certain domain or a sector and they believe in this asset class. But that is always over and above all their investments in life. When all their investments in life are right now going haywire, you don't expect them to make a high risk bet. कुछ लोग उसमें से ऐसे होंगे जो बहुत इस समय गिल्ट में होंगे, जिनको लग रहा होगा कि यार कैसे मना करूं यार, I will look bad. Don't make them look bad. Give them comfort. Tell them that it's okay, chill. while we are screwed and we need to figure out how to get out of our own situation. But please stop that round right now. There is definitely going to be some other day, and probably the same angel investors are going to come back, probably,
So,
if they are not good in their life. So stop that round.
so,
Stop being hopeful about it. In case you have anybody in that group who you can confide into and who you share a bond which is beyond, just being an angel investor coming into a round, take loan, maybe take their money. Like, take money only from those people right now who are extremely comfortable with the idea of drowning that money. And you as a founder have to also understand that anybody who will angel invest in this time, is probably staring into drowning their money. And there will be people who will be okay with it, by the way. So just be open about it, and I will strongly recommend that stop the round, for now. Not a great timing to make people feel bad about it. Very bad timing.
so Ashish, if we quickly, we are already past 4. So if we quickly summarize the whole conversation in 2 or 3 bullet points or 4 points, what would that be for the readers who will join in later?
So I don't know, Bebo, I do not create those,
So,
but I
so,
can summarize
so,
on
so
things on
yeah,
top of
sure.
my. I think one is that, guys, this is a situation in which everybody is in it together. So this is the good part of this bad situation. That means ideally everybody will have to understand your situation, and you will have to understand their situation. Number one. Number two, please be empathetic with your vendors, with your partners, with your employees, as well as your customers. Some of your customers might not be paying you. Some of the vendors you might not be paying because either of you don't have money. प्लीज मेक श्योर दैट जब पैसा नहीं दे सकते हो, कम से कम सांत्वना तो दे सकते हो, बात तो कर सकते हो, कम्युनिकेट तो कर सकते हो. This time requires proactive communication, not reactive communication. So please make sure that you're also communicating and over communicating, with every stakeholder. People are going to be, they're going to get anxiety shots when they look at your name, whether they need to take money from you or probably you need to take money from them. Both cases, your name is going to give them anxiety. If you can turn this anxiety into something better than that, compassion or understanding, I think that is going to go a long way. Survival of your company is a must, even for the economic stability, or even if you feel that you have a role in economy to contribute. Zinda rahoge to kal contribute karoge.
Yeah.
Zinda rehna important hai. Please have a conversation with your employees about every cut. Don't be ruthless. Even if somebody disagrees with you, have some compassion. That is why you are a founder. It is required. It is your job. It is your job to take all that, stress. It is going to be stressful. Give me a call. I'm also stressful at times, but I'm happy to, talk to any one of you in case I can be of help in this stressful times. And don't, take it wrong. I have my own, but I promise I won't put mine on you. And last is that look for, this is the time to look within, look at your product, look at your service, look at, where were you delivering the promise, the tall promise, the great marketing campaign you run where you call your product or service the best in class, or something which you promise the customer will happen because of doing this. This is the time to actually look at your data, look at your customers, look at your product, and see where all it does not create value. This is the time to agree with it. This is the time to look for areas where you can create value indeed. Go back to your customers, start building that value for them right now. Even if it comes for free, that's okay. You are anyway bleeding, they're anyway going to go away, so might as well work with them to build something. And trust me, post this, only those clients who you were able to give value will stay. So this is going to be, once it ends, it's going to be a day of reckoning. That's all from my side.
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for being great viewers and asking us questions. We'll bring you some more experts very soon. Till then, keep reading Ink 42, and thank you guys. Thank you,
Thanks.
Ashish.
Thanks guys. Bye.